Hello, I think we're live on YouTube. Welcome to Courses for Spirit, Spiritual Sundays live here. Hello, I think we're live on YouTube. We'll have to edit that bit out because that wasn't so great. Here comes Jeremy. So if you're new to the live stream on the YouTube channel, it's our shambolic Sunday live conversation where myself, Mason, and Jeremy, and anybody else who comes to join us, we take a topic and we look at it from a spiritual point of view. And anybody who's joining us live on YouTube, you're very welcome to comment and submit any questions that you'd like us to cover. Yeah, just hello. Hi, Jeremy. Hi, Mason. How are you doing?
Hi there. I'm in a fairly noisy cafe in the Kootenays, in the Kootenay
Okay.
mountain range. So in a place called Kimberley. So I'm going to be on silent.
Okay. You got quite a bit of background noise there, but
Yeah, sorry about that.
no, don't worry about it. No, it'd be good to get your. It's good to have you here. Hi, Mason.
Hey guys, yeah, how's it going, guys? Good.
Fantastic. Well, we were going to talk this week. We were going to have a little chat about how do you find balance when you're in this this digital connected world. And it's a good one, actually. That's a good one for me personally because since we started getting more active with the YouTube channel, I've been very much spending a lot more time working with screens and digital things, and kind of spending a lot more time on the computer than I normally would. And also, when you're running a YouTube channel, there's all the kind of back end stuff, and there's all the kind of fascinating things as well, which is really nice. Is when people have been commenting on the videos and asking questions, and kind of, and so we've been able to have a backwards and forwards with people. That's been really nice. And the question is, how do you balance your kind of, how do you balance that? How do you balance that? Because really, it's so much fun in some ways, and it's so compelling. I could see how this could easily get out of control for me, and I could just be spending hours and hours and hours and hours just getting really excited about what's happening online. And I'm also very aware that that's not the healthiest thing for me in the world, So I'm interested in today's conversation as always, for some personal insights. So yeah, how many people do you think it must affect this feeling? I mean, I feel it like I'm always being my attention's been drawn away to my phone, or it's been drawn away to my computer, or it's been drawn away to what might be happening elsewhere with somebody else, and the feeling like if somebody gets in touch with you, you have to respond right immediately as well. I think that's something that sometimes I feel like that, and sometimes you do need to respond immediately, and sometimes you don't. So there's how do you manage? I mean, those are a couple of things that I'm kind of thinking about at the moment.
Yeah, we should talk about all those things, Mike. We should talk about all those questions that you have, Like even I want to ask you questions like you say it's compelling, it's like a fun and compelling, right? To be working on the back end stuff or connecting with people, seeing the YouTube channel grow. And then but then you mentioned like it's not maybe it could not be good for you, but it's like are you thinking like you could just overdo it, you could overwork it? That's when maybe this balancing act kind of comes into play. And is it some just fun thing that feels good? Is that your drive, or is it like a purposeful thing that you feel like connected to like a real sense of motivation, you know?
It is all of those things.
Yeah.
And I don't think any of those are particularly unhealthy, but I think there is this unhealthy thing which is feels very much like, if it's Christmas and you get a big box of sweets, and because it's Christmas, it's probably all right. You can just keep on you just keep on taking out them. You go, oh, it doesn't matter. I'll have another. I'll have another. I'll have another, and then you just make yourself sick. So for me, it's a bit like having some kind of delicious fast food that's maybe sweet that's not really good for you, and you just want another and another and another and another. So I think that's the unhealthy thing. It's like an it's like a desire addiction, just like is that your dad? Hello. Hey,
Yeah, I guess
Jeremy.
Jeremy's visiting his dad.
That
Brian?
was my uncle. Yeah.
Ah, your uncle. Yeah. I don't know what you guys make of that. I mean, that kind of moorishness. One more post, one more like, one more this, one more that. It's like, I'll just have a look. There might be something there. There might be something there. I think there's
Yeah.
that bit of it that is, well, I think that's yeah, that's the nub of the difficulty for me. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, well, we like definitely there's this idea that, yeah, there could be too much, maybe too much of anything, too much social media, too much posts, too much interest in a like or a feedback, or there's that idea. But and then there's talking about, yeah, like I'm wondering about you, like personally, is it like like when you have that desire to, is it like you want to answer a question, you want to connect with someone? Is it like, do you want does so many likes mean something to you? Is it like a chasing a like thing? Like, do those questions land with you?
I mean, if we're all really sort of honest with ourselves, if you put something online and it gets like a really positive feedback,
Yeah.
it feels good, you know.
Sure.
It
Okay.
does
Yeah.
feel, it
Yeah.
does feel good, you know. And I think there's so many different sides. Okay, I mean, I can talk about how I stay healthy digitally, I suppose. We can talk about that. So,
Yeah. Okay.
because the thing, I didn't really use the internet so much at the beginning. I remember when email was explained to me. This was in the 90s. And then I had a friend who was going online, and I said, where are you going? He says, I'm going to the library. And I'm going, what are you going to do? He says, I'm going surfing. And I honestly just didn't know what he was talking about. I was like, well, that sounds boring. I'm going to go and do something else. But he was
Yeah.
going online, he was going on forums, he was making connections with people around the world. And so I'm just realizing that what the internet does, and I have to apologize for everybody who's just going to go, oh my God, what is it, 2025, and you've just got that. Thank you, goodness me. So apologies to all of those people. But I just realized that the internet connects everybody to everybody, potentially. Um, and so one of the things that's really exciting to me is that when you're in a helping profession, you want to help people. And so with the internet, I've just realized that it's just kind of a way that you can connect with and you can share and you can help lots and lots of people you may never even meet by having, quality conversations and kind of creating good videos and things which we're learning how to do at Courses for Spirit. That's an ongoing process.
Yeah. It 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 sounds like you have a real, you know, it sounds like you have a real purpose or passion like in this drive. It doesn't sound like you have this repetitive, simple dopamine flash, dopamine spike that you get from maybe looking at social media or just eating a quick snack. It doesn't sound like just that simple. It sounds like you're growing into like a real interest or a real, yeah, passion, Mike. I mean, because what you're talking about like extends outside of a YouTube channel. You're talking about helping people that's like across the globe.
Well, if you think about what's happening on the planet, lots and lots of people are suffering. Lots of people are suffering. Suffering in many, many different ways, from the point of view of being displaced, or being attacked physically, um, being insecure about your income, changes in society. Well, you name it. I mean, there's a lot of people going through a lot of difficulty, and there's a lot of suffering going on right now.
Yeah.
And and there probably always has been a lot of suffering on the earth. It's just because we're connected through the internet, then we can actually, it just feels real. It's more real because we can hear people's stories from all around the world, and they can be translated into different languages. So, and we're more aware of what's happening, and it's happening in real time. It's not like, it doesn't feel like it's, you're just waiting for, because when we were kids, we would, I mean, this is different for obviously a younger generation, but you get the news at like 6 o'clock and you get the news at 10 o'clock kind of thing. And it would be very selected. There was a controlled narrative there. But with the way that we're connected now, yes, there are controlled narratives, but what's also happening is that you can see people's footage that they've shot on their mobile phones of what's actually happening to them, and lots of voices, lots of people telling their stories. And so it feels now, I think, probably what, when something bad is happening to somebody in another country, it feels like it's happening on one earth rather than, oh, that's happening to somebody in a different country. So I think that thing has started to reduce for me, that idea of separation. So if there's more of a human connection going for all around the world, and of course, there's a lot of disinformation, and there's a lot of manipulation, and we could talk about algorithms and stuff, but I don't know if people are going to be interested in talking about algorithms on a spiritual Sunday. Maybe not.
Uh-huh.
But
Yeah.
but from a spiritual point of view, from a point of unity, what does it do? It connects us to so many others who we can find what we've got in common with each other. So we can see past differences, celebrate differences, and see more and more what we've got in common with each other. And I'm just realizing, sorry, very late to the party, is that by learning how to use the tools that are available for connection, is that, somebody like people like ourselves, for instance, we can join in on that movement where there people are, therapists and coaches and kind of people who are into spiritual stuff, meeting online and talking and working things through and providing help and support for each other. Because as people come out of this stage of global suffering, like huge amounts of suffering, then there's a lot of healing that's going to be happening, that is happening. And the more people who are on a healing journey, and the more people who are supporting each other on, it makes it easier for other people to do that, for a whole bunch of different reasons. But, the most obvious one being the fact that maybe there's more, it just becomes part of the culture, is to heal and to explore, wisdom, explore wisdom. Wisdom is what fascinates me. I'm not saying that I'm wise. I'm not saying that I have wisdom. I'm saying I'm interested in it. I'm in love with it, and I think that the more wisdom you have in your life, the better your life gets, and that wisdom belongs to everybody equally. So I guess that's, what a massive long ramble that was.
Yeah.
Yeah,
But
that was a
good.
big that
But
was a big
good.
ramble.
But good. But good. All those points like connected. It's not like you were talking about 10 different things. This was like
Mm.
one congruent philosophy. But yeah, and I think you have your own unique wisdom, right? Like that's also the cool thing. It's like a lot of us are sharing this oneness, this kind of common sense, maybe we could call it, but then a lot of people have these really unique and individual lives and perspectives. And then now those are all coming to the table. Like, yours, you're on the internet here, right, Mike? And it's like
We're, we're on the internet together. Well, I don't know. What's your take on all this? I mean, to throw something else in the mix, I would say is when you say yes, everybody's got their unique wisdom. I think when you turn inside, when you start looking inside of it, it's that wisdom is you discover it inside yourself. Because when you meet something that feels wise, you know it, you sort of feel it, it's and that feeling happens, that recognition happens inside of you.
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. Okay, this is awesome because this is like the exact reason I thought it was good to talk about the balance between digital living and what we're talking about. Like I think that feeling of inside, that truth or that feeling of like what we're talking about, I don't think that exists in the AI world. And I don't think you know, I don't even think talking about that with AI could create it. And I don't and I feel like the digital world takes that thing that you were talking about at the beginning of the discussion, like our attention, essentially probably one of the most valuable things or currencies in the whole universe is like our attention. And I think as it takes our attention, we lose focus on that inner discovery, like the inner wisdom that you get from either meditating or like living life and being like, yeah, bumping your toe sucks. Um, you know,
Well,
yeah, yeah,
I mean, okay, so one of the things that we know for certain, 100% certain, is that the algorithms behind popular social media platforms, they're tuned for engagement. And they know that shock and outrage and disgust and anger and all of these kind of really sort of like fast food emotions, they drive engagement. So the algorithms are tuned to show more shocking, more separate, more kind of more outrage type material, and then people get more outraged and they go wow, and it's like this cycle. So that is something that everybody needs to become aware of. If they're not aware of that, the algorithms are tuned to show you divisive, outrage kind of stuff if you are interacting with that stuff. So you're getting hooked on it.
yeah, yeah. Okay, yeah. What like, this is the thing when you're telling me that, like what's happening in my imagination is like goodness and stillness and truth, this inner wisdom emerges. And from digital, it's like coddling you towards this animosity. Like, look at the terror, look at the news, look at how, just like what you're saying. It's designed to be uncomfortable, like disturbing. So, I don't know. It's like I, I and also what I'm thinking is okay, navigate through that. And this digital thing is supposed to be like our assistant, our helpful thing. Is it gonna take over? Does everyone have a different idea? Like it's just a bit like where is the line, right? And it's because it's growing so fast and it's, like you're discussing, Mike, like does that change your opinion of it? The awareness of it, the algorithms guide you towards disturbing posts versus not. Like, what do you think of that? Yeah, that's what I'm thinking as you're describing that stuff. Like, that's how it works.
Well, I guess it's very similar to me to the realization that there's a voice talking in your head and commenting on your life all the time that's been going for a long time, blah 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 blah, second guessing everything, and that voice that everybody's got that voice.
Yeah, we
Yeah,
talked about it another time. It
yeah.
was really good. Yeah, the
There's this
mind.
there's this voice talking in my head all the time, telling me that I'm good, telling me I'm bad, telling me what's going to happen, what this person's like, they shouldn't have done this, da 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 da, blah blah blah. There's that voice. And you can live not knowing that there's a voice in your head commenting all the time. You just think that's normal. You don't think there's no other alternative to that, because that voice has just been going on for ages, and you think there isn't. That's it. Sometimes that's a happy voice, sometimes it's not such a happy voice, but that's reality. And so it's a major thing, a huge thing. It's like, from an Eastern perspective, it's lifetimes of kind of being born on the earth and studying and kind of living through different challenges, to the point where you go, man, there's a voice in my head just talking all the time. It's a
And
big
then
thing.
thus begins a new chapter of
Yeah, that's it.
lifetimes.
Well, it's the
Yeah.
very big. It's. I mean, that is a huge change, because if you just take the voice as reality, blah 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 blah, that's what's real. Then that's one stage of being human. Not a bad stage, not a good stage. Just it's a stage of being human. And then when you realize there's a voice talking in your head, you don't know what to do with it anymore, but you just realize it's there. All of a sudden, there's a little bit of a spaciousness there, a bit of a gap. It's like, oh, I'm noticing this voice in my head. And so then that puts you in a different space. So,
Yeah.
so it's,
Yeah.
so it's kind of a similar thing when you go, oh, there's an algorithm, and every time I like something by something that's a bit scary, or it's a disaster, the algorithm starts showing me more stuff, but it's very clever. So it knows how to sort of vary that with cat videos. So just to keep me clicking, moving, scrolling, possibly clicking on some adverts, certainly being attention for an advertising business that I've got going, and also so that this algorithm can track my behavior and build up a profile of me, which is data that can then be sold to whoever wants to pay for it, because they want to interact with me in some way, usually to get me to do something they want me to do, which either give them some money or behave in a particular way. So that's a comparable thing, I think, is when you go, oh, there's an algorithm that, well, why don't I work on the algorithm and tell it that I want to let me, let's start, when you're watching lots of YouTube clips of Eckhart Tolle, or Eckhart Tolle, as I think you guys say in Canada,
Yeah.
or you're looking at meditation videos, or you're looking at eating healthy videos, then eventually, that algorithm will start sending you more and more and more of that.
Yeah. Yeah. Commonly happens and you get locked in. And then I'm believing my algorithm feed is like good and suited to me, and I'm catching up on all the stuff, or I'm diving deep on a topic, but like who knows what I'm missing? Who knows what I'm, you know, yeah,
Yes.
thinking all day because of it. Yeah.
So it's a simple thing, isn't it? It's just going, right, what I'm seeing represented on my media feeds isn't actually reality. It's what the algorithm's feeding me. Is quite similar, in my mind at least, to realizing there's a voice talking in your head all the time and it's not you.
Yeah. So I like, as you pause, and if we're talking from a meditation point of view, as you pause and separate from that voice in your head, thus like becoming the thing that hears the voice, the same thing if you would pause and separate from that voice in your computer that's getting into your head, the algorithm, and like become separate from that thing, you know? I think that's good practice, right? It's a good, like, you're stepping away. Like, if you step away from both of those things, the mind, your voice in your head, whether it's positive thoughts, negative thoughts, the idea of going to meditation, and then you step away from the technology, I think you're stepping towards like yourself in a healthier way,
Yeah,
either way,
yeah,
right? Do you
yeah.
think that?
I think so. And I just to reiterate, it's just you don't know, might don't have to know what to do with that. It's just that moment where you recognize it is is
Okay, yeah.
is good. It's a good place to be. It's a good place to get to.
Yeah.
And then you still like we do when the mind starts going into the future or ruminating about the past or whatever it does, we fall for that over and over and over again. And then you kind of come back to it and you go, oh, I did it again. And then you can fall for your algorithms, what they're feeding you as well. I think the problem people are having is when the problem that we all have is when we mistake our own tiny little view on the world for, what's actually real, what's really going on.
Yeah. Yeah. And and you're right. So I think these algorithms program our subconscious in a way that's tricky to see what's going on in the world or our own lives, even like sometimes, in fact, sometimes it's even like right in front of our face. It's like we're can't see clearly because of like what we're thinking. And like what we're thinking comes from the voice in our head or the 10 videos in a row we just watched about this topic, whatever it is, right?
Well, it can be like being sort of surrounded by a wall of fog and mist and cloud. Everywhere you look, there's this wall of mist, so you don't really know which direction to go in. It can be very confusing when you're overwhelmed by either your own internal monologues or the stuff that's coming at you through screens.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
especially if you're interested in the well-being of the world, and so where there's an injustice, you're hearing about that injustice, and we do need to be informed. Absolutely need to be informed. Problem is that we're often overwhelmed because there's just so much stuff coming at us. So if we're going back to that question about balance, I would throw that question back to you and say, like, how do you decide, when, how much is too much, and what what do I believe? How do I stay healthy with all of the kind of with all of the information that's coming at us through our digital devices? How
Mhm.
do you do it?
So, I mean, like it's just this ongoing all the time practice. So some days I'm good at and some days I'm really bad at, right? Every day has this different demand. But sometimes I feel like when I'm really doing it well and I feel like I've taken care of myself well, like, on this topic, it's like I'll try and prioritize like my body. I'll try and prioritize my day if I can like through my body. And it's like, okay, what does my body need right now? And it's either usually the urge to move or not to move. Okay, so if I get the urge to move, which like is kind of obvious, I go stretch, I go for a 10-minute walk, I do some light form of movement. I'll call it exercise, but it's just could be like light yoga, light stretching, light breathing, like nothing even hardcore, just not sitting still. And then I just do that for as long as I have the time for, as long as I can. And then after that, I try to check in with like like what my mind, like what does my mind need, do I want to read something? Do I have the energy? Like, do I have the focus for something right now? Like, am I like low blood sugar? Do I have to eat something? Do I need to take a break? And then when those checks and balances meet out, when I'm like, okay, my body's somewhat fairly taken care of, and my mind is like somewhat fairly taken care of, I got some positive thoughts. I'm sure I'm thinking of the things I got to do today, but I'm like grounded and balanced. If I do that first in the day, that sets me up to take a good crack at digital stuff.
So
Maybe that was a ramble. Does that make sense?
no, it sounds like you're kind of, you're embodied. You're kind of looking after your nutrition. You look at and you're kind of breathing, stretching, kind of moving, and then you're kind of going into the digital world. And what do you do? Do you do that all? Do you have like fixed periods of time during the day, or do you're more of a grazer? You sort of go away and come back again, or and do you have a cut-off time? Because I think that's one of the things that we've been doing is like getting to a certain point in the evening. Um, no, not on the days when we do this, and then turn all the devices off. So about 8 o'clock tonight, 8:30 tonight, everything will just get switched off.
Yeah. That's a good strategy. I'm sure. You know, I've never tried the time thing. It never really sat with me super perfectly. But one thing I do, or a trick I try, if I'm not going out anywhere in my house or my apartment, I leave my phone like just in one room. I try to treat it like, you remember the old corded phones like attached to
Mm.
the wall? Like I try to treat it like that. If I have to make a phone call, I'm gonna go into that room and like sit there and talk to a friend or whatever. And I'll go pull up a stool. I'll try to send like 10 text messages at once, spend 10 minutes texting people, and then I'll just check in with them next time I come back in that room. Uh,
I like that. Oh, that
but
is
I,
that's so good. That's such an obvious thing to do. I never thought of
but
that. That's wonderful.
yeah, and you know, most of that stemmed from like, oh, I don't like the cell phone in my pocket. You know, I'm worried about the EMFs and I don't like the radiation, and I think I can, you know, like feel it, or even if I can't, thinking about it bothers me. So it stemmed from I don't want the cell phone near me. And then now it's like, oh, I feel stressed about the cell phone. Like, oh, I gotta get to all these messages. And I like you know the feeling of the cell phone overwhelm. Yeah. So when I have that in a room and I leave that room, it's like, oh, it's see ya. That's behind me. Like it's attached to the wall. So I don't it's gone. I'm gonna go out in nature. This device with eyeballs on the front and back and ears that are always listening and that's like selling my information could just sit here in the corner for a while with the dunce cap on. I don't,
Yeah,
I'm not in love with the thing. Yeah.
that's cool. I like that. Yeah.
Yeah.
Do you have other friends who do the same?
I'm not sure. I don't, I'm not sure. I'm trying to, if I can think of any of my friends that have a cool strategy or anything we've even talked about like on this topic. But yeah, no, I don't know. I'm not sure. I can't think of anything off the top of my head. Uh, you know, it comes up a lot. My friends of mine and I talk about, you know, this trendy word digital detox a lot. But
Well, there's another aspect to it that's coming to me now that we're thinking about it in detail is see the whole thing with meditation, yoga meditation is what you're doing is you're training yourself to reverse the direction of your attention.
okay,
So if you think about what a mobile phone does when you're on a mobile phone, you're going like this, right? You're going, and then the feeling is your attention's being drawn into this device, and your attention, instead of it going where it, like, when you're meditating, you're bringing your attention inside to what's happening with your breath, maybe feeling your heart. You'd be imagining the different energy centers in your body, feeling yourself grounded. Maybe you're doing some visualization. That's all stuff that's happening inside,
yeah, for sure.
because that's what meditation's doing. Meditation is withdrawing your life energy that's going out through your senses into the world, and you're bringing it back inside, and you're turning. So, because the wisdom that you find is inside of you. What you find
Yeah.
outside of you is like little mirrors and little signs that send you to show you, redirect you to where to look for answers. And when we look outward for answers, people will sell us answers, which is fine because we need products and services. But that feeling of looking and looking and looking and looking and never finding is because our attention and our energy is going out into the world. And what we're doing when we meditate is we're withdrawing that energy and that focus is coming back inside. And there's in a very real way, where when we're walking around in the world, we're actually walking around inside ourselves.
Yeah.
When we're meeting other people, we're kind of meeting the projections of our mind. And then when you get to know somebody and you really focus with someone, and you're not projecting onto them, you begin to see your own self reflected in the other person. And then you realize that it's like, that you are oneself, but you look different and you sound different. You're seeing everything from a different perspective. So the digital thing, ironically, you can find videos that will talk to you about bringing your attention back inside, and also there's a lot of it is trying to get your attention to go somewhere where the person who the company or the organization is trying to get your attention to go.
I feel like I believe you because when I think about that, Mike, when I'm when I search for any answers externally, like which we have to do, we got to research, we got to open books or whatever, we have to get our information from somewhere. But that when you describe that feeling of searching and searching, like it's exhausting. I find it taxing all the time. It's like, oh, looking, But every time this I embark on this inner journey, whatever that is, like deep thinking, meditating, yoga, stretching, getting in the right conversation vibe with somebody, like that inner searching, it's like rejuvenating, you know? It's like it feels relaxing versus this, where's the answer outside me, right? Like trying
Uh,
to
the
get
answers
past
are
the
not.
there.
Well, that's the thing.
And
The answers are not outside. They're just not.
yeah, and it's like even even our senses, right? Like we touch anything, the signal goes up through our hand into our brain and neurons like flash. And I guess our soul recognizes that pattern. And so like we see that too, ever the light comes in. Like everything happens internally anyways, right? Like the we just our body, our physical body makes sense of all these signals. And I guess our spirit interprets that somehow. That it's all happening like through this thing we call us.
Yeah, I mean I guess that's one way of talking about it. The experience of it is the simplest experience in the world. It's just that experience of just being you, fully yourself, just fully yourself in the present moment. That's all it is. Like when you're 10, basically like when you're 10 years old and you're just really interested in something. It's kind of like that. That's where all why have you got so much energy in a situation like that? It's because you're connected to yourself. You're
Yeah.
in your own world, and you're kind of in your own world, and you're okay with it.
Is that how you feel what we were talking about earlier? Like, I just want to pay attention to the YouTube channel, to the community, to the people. Is that how you feel? Like your 10-year-old self again?
In a way, actually, with this the channel and the kind of, I mean, we had. I'm very sorry, I've forgotten the name of the person, but I don't want to say the wrong name because, but there's somebody got in touch with us about one of our YouTube shorts, for instance,
Yeah.
and it was about the story about the missing cat. And
Okay.
she said, well, I get this, but I'm not sure about. I get about your mind creating your reality, and you can change your thoughts and your feelings, and you can change your actions, and I get that, but you're not saying that your mind actually created a world where the cat was lost, and a world where the cat was just in the wardrobe, were you? And I was able to clarify, just getting in touch with her, and it's like people getting in touch with people around things that matter is I suppose it's just a very simple way of thinking about the internet. And maybe it's a time. It is a time for us to, rediscover. I mean, for me, I guess there'll be people watching this and going, "Oh well, it's like he's discovering the internet for the first time, the way that we did in the 80s or the 70s or whenever they did."
Hmm.
I don't think I answered your question though, did I? I just kind of went off. I think I went off on one about the internet again.
It's okay. It's okay. I just
Mm.
asked if you felt like you were 10, and I'm like, maybe that's a way to decide how to keep engaging with the digital stuff or to take a break from it. Is it tiring you, or do you feel like you're 10 and you've got this infinite imaginative child energy?
Well,
But
it depends how you're using it. I think that's the thing. Again, if you're connecting and sharing feels energizing, I think. Uh,
okay, yeah, yeah, that's cool, and that answers my question. You did answer it before, but we're just
yeah.
coming back to it. And I even wanted to say, as we even started the whole talk, is I feel like the internet growing, you picture all the wires and cables and all the computers that talk to each other. That too looks like the neural network of the brain developing, right? So it feels like, like in the womb, an embryo's like 1 minute there's no neural network, and then it develops, and then it's there. That's so like 1 minute we didn't have the internet, like 1 decade, like it's there. So I feel like this stuff is coming to life. So if like you have that life in you when you're doing it, maybe you're bringing the big picture like to life, you know?
Well, you mentioned also the experience of artificial intelligence.
Yeah.
Um, and I have a particular way of thinking about artificial intelligence. Um, Not that I'm not I didn't do a degree or go an engineering route. This is just from using it since for a couple of years, just fairly intensively. Is the way I see it is when if I'm using something like ChatGTP, for me it's
ChatGPT, yeah.
yeah, for me, it's like a mirror. It's like this mirror consciousness where I've got access to huge amounts of data and the patterns in data, and there's an intelligence there that can look at things and put things into context and have a backwards and forwards creative conversation that I couldn't have by myself, and I would need a huge team of people and resources in order to have that with just humans. But that technology gives you this incredible window into human experience, and it can spot the patterns, and it can have a conversation with you in a language, natural language. So I actually find working with artificial intelligence incredibly inspiring and really, really, really creative, because I think of it as a creative partner with an intelligence which is significantly different from mine. And of course, my intelligence is significantly different from the artificial intelligence.
I wanted to talk about the pros and cons of it, right? And that you just opened up the whole topic of the pros of it. I mean, I know we were kind of balancing on this idea of, oh, how much is too much and when should we separate, and maybe how can we separate. But that topic you just got on, and I wish we had like way more time, but we're kind of out of time. That topic you just touched on, yeah, is probably like a whole other episode we could do. Because it's good. I want to talk about that. I mean, there's so many good benefits, right?
We do need to talk about artificial intelligence. We definitely do, 100%. One of the
Yeah,
reasons
okay.
we need to talk about artificial intelligence is because some many of the people who are very prominent and powerful in this new technology are also very interested in Christian thought, and they're very influenced by it as well.
Oh, good.
And
That's
well, good and maybe not so. I mean, I think there's a lot of things to debate there, because there's this term, the Antichrist, is getting thrown around a lot in Silicon Valley conversations, and there's quite a famous interview that happened over the last about 2 months ago, I think it was, with the New York Times and somebody called Peter Thiel. Um,
You mentioned it, by the way. Yeah, you mentioned it.
yes, and so I mean that was one very highly prominent conversation. But there's a whole spiritual conversation going around Silicon Valley and kind of the artificial intelligence. I mean, I have a problem with it being artificial. I think of it as an intelligence. I don't think it's artificial at all. Maybe it's machine intelligence. I don't know, but it's like if I'm human intelligence, then maybe that this is intelligence showing up in another form.
Hmm.
It's a tech. I don't know what you call it really. But going back to the thing about that technology, the people who are working with that technology and the people who are monetizing it and people who are kind of have some control over it as well, they're also talking about spiritual things, and I'm hearing sort of quite a lot of things that I would say is like, well, that is something that would be very good to debate, because this term, the Antichrist, is getting thrown around a lot.
Hmm.
And I think maybe we could talk about what is that exactly, because what are we talking about here? Because actually, it's a whole other story. But yeah, maybe we could come to that another time. I feel a bit awkward talking because what I don't really like to do is talk about famous people or people in the news as if they're not people.
Right. Okay. Like, why? What do you mean? Like, this,
We,
you like, why is that?
well, I've noticed. I mean, you have to notice that when somebody's in the public eye, people give their opinions about them and say things about them. And yes, I mean, of course, that has to happen. But because I'm not a journalist, I don't really feel comfortable doing that. I mean, I would rather talk to the person directly, which is unlike, impractical. It's not going to happen.
Yeah. Yeah.
But I think you just have to be delicate when you're talking about other human beings and, the kind of things that they believe in. What I would love to do is to engage in a debate with some of the people from Silicon Valley. That could be really interesting. But
It would be. Yeah. Sorry. It would be cool. It would be fun.
yeah, just this thing about Antichrist. It's like it's kind of fairly simple. It's like if Christ means unity,
Yeah.
right? They're not they and if Jesus taught compassion and kindness, and that we're all one, and to look, that we don't have any enemies. Don't create enemies because you don't have any. Then the opposite of that, I think of that as the Antichrist. So what's the Antichrist? It's things that would go against the teachings. Would be judging other people, being fearful of other people, trying to control other people, hurting other people, putting profits before the well-being of your brothers and sisters. All of that kind of stuff. You could call that Antichrist.
Yeah. Yeah. I Okay. I heard a definition the other day of that evil, and I don't even I hate even the word evil. I hate even the word hate, but that anything that takes you away from your divinity is like evil or this antichrist or something.
Oh, that's nice. I like that. Yeah, yeah, that makes
Yeah.
sense. That's cool.
So yeah, I haven't studied or thought too much into that exact phrase, the antichrist, and I haven't, I wonder like what is evil and what does it mean and what does it look like in the world that we live in or the world that we can't see. Uh, but yeah, yeah, I like I don't like those points of view.
Mm.
Yeah, don't know what I'm saying there.
Well, evil also, you could talk about it as being, you know, that the habit of forgetting that other people have feelings too.
I I try to my best always get in touch with whoever I'm looking at, whether it's a famous person or not, or engaging with, or whether it's a person I see in a video or a comment I see on that video. I try sometime to think, okay, we're all humans on the same side. We're all working towards unity in some way. Everyone thinks that they're right. Like and just try, Mason, to not get caught up in emotion about what's like who's right and who's wrong here. Like sometimes it's helpful to do that, and sometimes it's very difficult. But yeah, trying to think of everyone as like they're on your team.
Or everybody's going through their own personal evolution, and you meet people at all kinds of different stages of their evolution in life. Um, some people you meet are really kind, compassionate, humble. Some people you meet are at the opposite spectrum. But it's a stage of evolution, and it's a non-linear kind of evolution as well. So it's
Yeah.
just best. My goodness me, we are out of time on our. That was a Sunday ramble, wasn't it? Really,
Well, we could
we covered.
special episode Sunday Ramble.
Mm,
Yeah, we call it that.
yeah,
A special Ramble episode.
Sunday ramble. But yeah, so I like that. I'm one of the things I'm going to take away is your idea of of leaving the phone in a particular place as if it was attached
Yeah.
to the wall. That when I'm at home, I'll do that. I like that.
Okay.
And I'll just
Okay.
have
It
a look.
works some days.
I'll have a look at it when I go past. Yeah.
It works some days. It works some
Yeah.
days. Okay, cool. Yeah, yeah.
Cool. So we're going to switch over now, aren't we, to having a private discussion. Um, if you want to join us, if you just go to courses forspirit.ca. That's courses FOR spirit.ca and find workshops. Click on Zoom, and you'll come straight into the Zoom. Okay. So we're going to come off YouTube now, and if you do want to join us on the Zoom, that's coursesforspirit.ca. Look for workshops, and you can just come in, and we won't be filming, and it'll be a completely private conversation. Okay. So thanks for joining us for this week. Um, I'm Mike Warwick. This course is for Spirit. We had Jeremy, but he's gone off to see his uncle. Oh, he's here. Look, there he is.
Yeah. There he is coming along. Yeah, yeah, yeah. And yeah, I'm Mason. Thanks for joining us. Jeremy, okay, he's gone again.
He's
Yeah,
gone. That was it.
it's,
Flying visit.
that's good. Yeah, it's okay.
Cool.
And yeah. Anyway, okay, I'll see you in a second, Mike. But it was
Okay.
a cool discussion.